Welcome to the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves, just outside cold but unsnowy Louisville, Kentucky, and in Maryland, John Webster. I don't know what kind of weather you've had there, but I hope it's not as bad as it is up the East Coast.
Gary, how you doing, man? Another great week in sports. Man, the weather's kind of rough here. Had a little bit of snow here where I live. Now, from my hometown down in Salisbury, they got 10 inches. You go a little bit further down to Ocean City, 11 inches. You go to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, 19 inches.
Rehoboth got 19. I heard some of them sea towns got thunder snow. Yeah, is that what they call it?
They're calling this some kind of cyclone, some
Oh,
snow
snow cane.
cyclone.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard snow
snow
cane.
cyclone or something. But too cold here still for me, man. Woke up this morning, it was like 19 degrees with a wind chill of like 10 or 11 or something like that. So it's just it's crazy.
Mhm.
Um, I was thinking about heading down there the next couple of days, but I'm going to hold off until it gets a little bit better down there because
Yes, indeed.
it's a little tough right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. You know, well, okay, it really isn't because we're still in winter. Let's just be real about that for a second. That we had snow. Everybody thought, oh yeah, that was it for the season. But John, those late those late season snowstorms are the ones that always get us. And I can think back. Probably the one I remember, the first one I really remember was 1979 when I was a freshman at Maryland, and we got hit with like 24 inches of snow.
I
And
remember.
we were taking we were taking trays from the dining hall and doing our version of Olympic sledding.
I remember. I
Yeah,
was in 11th grade, and that was a rough one. I remember that one.
yeah, yeah.
So
I parked my car outside the dorm. Um, and I was worried about getting a ticket, and then the snow came, and then I couldn't find my car could not be seen. I mean, well, nobody could tell the cars apart because there was so much snow piled up.
yeah,
That's how bad it was. It was fun times though, because I think we got 3 days out of school.
we yeah. For us, I remember that one. We ended up getting the extra week put on the end of the school year because
Oh, yeah.
we lost like a week of school. We missed three basketball games. Two of them we made up, and it was crazy snow that year. It was absolutely ridiculous. But hey, and then they're calling for another snowstorm here next week, next Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So,
That little rodent was right, but John, I'm going to use that as a segue into the wrap up for the Winter Olympics, since snow and ice were the prevailing themes for that. And John, I don't know how much Olympics you watched or you tried to watch. This year, I tried to watch as much as I could because for all the talk about the Summer Olympics, I think it takes a special kind of athlete to, trudge through the snow on skis, for cross country, and then carry a gun on your back and try to hit a target and ski again, like for biathlon. And definitely watching any kind of downhill skiing, snowboarding, whatever they call it, half pipe. Um, it might look like an extreme sport gone wild, but it's an extreme sport that just shows a different type of athleticism, and I appreciate that. But what I appreciate the most, John, which I never thought I would see in my lifetime, and I'm going to be honest about that, was for the U.S. men's and women's hockey teams to win gold medals in the same games. I'm going to
mhm.
start with the women because the women winning really didn't surprise me. It was just how were they going to handle a nemesis, Canada. and and they did. I mean, it took what, an overtime goal to win that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me psyched. Not only for them because women's hockey really has come a long way in the Olympics, and I think as a sport, and you and I have talked a whole lot about the growth in women's sports, and it's a good thing to see, and it was great to see with the women's Olympic team, and I think what I can appreciate about this one, it was their first one in something like three Olympic games. So, Canada has been the other dominant program, that they've had to beat. I'm not going to say that there's no love lost between them because chances are when these games are over, they're going to reunite on some team somewhere, either north of the border or here in the States. Moving on to the men, and that's the one that's very significant because it happened beating Canada in overtime. I was listening to the game while driving to an assignment, and I was just I do remember just kind of yelling out when Jack Hughes scored that overtime goal. And for what it's worth, John, it was a payoff for a team that game was typical of the rivalry in one respect, but the U.S. was a very dominant team in these games. I mean, they were winning, they were scoring at least 5 goals. I think they hung 5 on Canada in one of the preliminary round games. So, of course, Canada being Canada, they go through the bracket, meet up with the U.S. and John, they are still probably one of the toughest teams aside from the Russians, who I don't even know if they still have a hockey program right now, because they're banned from the games. But they are the current top dog. Let's give the Canadians credit, but it's now the U.S. And John, that was a scintillating game just to watch. I didn't think that they could score a goal after that first one in regulation because Canada just like a swarm of hornets, they just kept coming at the net, coming at the net. You didn't know where the threat was coming from. And I applaud the U.S. for having that kind of defense. I didn't think that was the kind of strategy to win a game. They did a good job of keeping the lead. And of course, the goalie, I want to get his name right. I want to say it,
Helleback
Hellebeck. Yeah. Yeah. In hockey parlance, what we say in the playoffs, dude stood on his head
stood on
in
his
goal,
head.
stood right, and I keep thinking about there was one save where he was on it. I guess it was like to his right, and there was a hole there that I thought that puck was going to get through. And it went low. If he had gone high, that it's a goal. But he just happened to
Mm-hmm.
get his stick and skate out there to deflect it. That might have been probably the best save of the games. And then 3-on-3 hockey, John, you gotta love it in overtime
Mm-hmm.
because then you can get your offensive guys on there. You didn't see Tom Wilson for the Canadians on the ice, and I think they wanted to get him on the ice. And you know who Tom Wilson is there in Washington. Probably one of the best defensemen I think that team has ever had by far.
Mm-hmm.
He is a brawler and he brawled. Um, he's a great defensive quarterback. And the U.S. found a way to solve that to really kind of match them on defense and then just create an opportunity in overtime. And the Canadians should have no shame. I know they're disappointed because they have owned the U.S. I covered the 2002 final in Salt Lake City, with a lot of NHL stars as well, and that team was loaded, and they beat the U.S. in another close game. So, congratulations to them. I think it's going to be a great thing for us in terms of national pride in that sport, even if you don't necessarily watch it.
Quite a game, man. Sunday morning, got up, got my chips, got my cheese, and my water like I told you I was going to get. I was sitting there watching.
At 8 in the morning.
8 in the morning, man. It's a game, man. It's a game. I'm going to treat it like it's a game. I go to the game. if I can't have a Nathan's hot dog, then I'm going to get some cheese and
Ooh,
nachos.
ooh, Nathan's hot dogs. Oh man.
We'll talk about Nathan's hot dogs
Mm,
later. I mean, memories with that one, right? But
yes, indeed. Yep. Ocean
I
City, Atlantic City.
man, hey, I tell you, the U.S., in my opinion, after the midway point, probably of the second period, Canada dominated that game.
Mhm.
They outshot them. Was it 42-28?
Yeah. I mean, it was
And
almost like I say, a 2-1 margin.
yeah, and even on the golden goal they scored to win, the Canadian team was in position to score. And they
Yeah.
got a lucky bounce of the puck, went on a fast break, got on a 3-on-1, and Jack Hughes put that little puck right in that goal, man. So
Mhm.
congratulations to the U.S. Olympic team. Been a long time coming. I remember last time they won was 1980, Lake Placid. Mikey Ruggione, coach was Herb Brooks. And
Mhm. Jim Craig was the goalie.
yeah, Jim Craig was the goalie. It was a long time coming. So happy for them. So happy for the women as well too. Both games 2-1 overtime, both of them.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's great. USA is able to bring gold home in both the men's and women's hockey. Um, Olympic sports, you said it all, Gary. They're interesting whether you're watching curling or you're watching the long, the skiers or what have you. It was
Speed
a great
speed
Olympics,
skating was
man.
my favorite, honestly.
Oh
That
man.
was that whether it was the pursuit and I've watched Aaron Jackson, although she didn't win a medal, to finish fifth in the 500, she got a good start. But if you saw some of the Dutch skaters that were in those pairs going down the list, the one she went against was that ended up beating her and taking silver. Don't ask me how to pronounce the name, but that woman skated the race of her life against Aaron
Mhm.
Jackson, ended up with silver. Could have ended up with gold if not for the fact that her teammate was even better.
Yeah,
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 I mean, it
yeah.
was again that just shows what is that? Stronger, what is it? Stronger, faster, taller, something like that. I forgot what the Olympic motto is, but
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it out in outdoor sports, and anybody that thinks, oh yeah, well it's cool, they can handle it. How many times do they tell us, John, not to shovel snow in the cold because of the effect it can have on your body?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And at my age now, it really has an effect on my body.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah. I when when we had snow here last month, John, I looked at that and I said, nature, you're gonna clean the driveway, not me. Luckily, a couple of
yeah,
young men came by and did the job, and and it was reasonable, and just saved me the responsibility. John, we both reached an age where we know what we can do, we know what we can't do. And I think that's why I admire the Olympic athletes because of what they can do and what they did. And again, the hockey teams, congratulations. You've given us two sources of national pride. And we're going to see the men's team in action probably this weekend on different NHL teams and around the world, but mostly in the NHL. But Jack Hughes, hats off to you, my friend.
and kudos for me as well. I totally agree with you. Congratulations to the USA. A great showing, not only in hockey, but all the way across the board in the Winter Olympics. Did a
Yeah.
great job.
There's one other thing, John. Let's be real about this. You see Jack Hughes in a restaurant or bar, what are you doing?
I'm just going to say congratulations. That's all I'm going to do.
Okay, but I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. That man will never have to pay for a drink or meal the rest of his life.
Well, this is true. This is true,
Yeah,
and he
I
probably
probably
won't have
I
to.
probably would buy him a drink.
And he probably won't have to pay for those two teeth he's missing either.
Well, hey, the NHL does have a great dental plan. I mean, you lose a chiclet and then score a game-winning goal. I think in one sequence.
Man, he
You
didn't lose a
lose
chick.
part of
He didn't lose a chicklet. He lost chiclets.
Yeah, I mean the picture I saw, I don't know how many teeth got knocked out, and I needed to see the play, and of course I've got it recorded, so I'm going to go back and watch it. But there was another play that ended up in a penalty for the U.S. where just like a stick came up, it was a high sticking penalty, and I think it was a couple things, and they ended up getting something like a 4 minute double minor, but it was like dude was carrying he was carrying his chicklets in his hand as he was going over to the ref, making his case, and that might have been why dude got a double minor for Canada because I mean, it is what it is. And the questions were, but don't they wear mouth guards? No, no, they can't. For the same reason a quarterback can't. He's got to call out signals. They have to communicate, and everybody thinks those shields are the things that guard them. Yeah, maybe from pucks, but not from somebody's stick that comes up near your grill.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough sport, man. Tough sport.
Mhm.
Man, we had some tough sports, not tough sports, but some tough situations going on with college basketball, man.
Ooh,
Houston, three straight losses. And the loss to Kansas, they were never in the game. It was
yeah,
Kansas from start to finish. And that Houston team, they're really good, especially defensively. But if they get down like they were last night, it's hard for them to come back. They're not built to be a comeback team like that. They were down 15, 17 points at one point in the second half. So it's rough on them. What about that Duke Michigan game, man? What'd you think of that?
John. There was some hype as a preview of the Final Four, and it did not disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
And when I turn the game on and I see all this gold in the stands in Washington D.C. of all places, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
on one side you saw nothing but gold, and on the other side you saw nothing but Duke blue. And for a college game, it had the energy of an NBA Finals game. But I'm not going to take away from the college game because again, it was a great college game, and I think we're going to see these teams again in the Final Four, perhaps in the final, because um, John, I've seen Duke twice. Once in person. Actually, I've seen Duke several times, but once in person when they came in and handled Louisville. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they got some dudes, and the impressive thing about them beating Michigan, and now they were Blue Devils are number one in the country. But the impressive thing was what they did with Cameron Boozer on the bench with, I think it was what, 3 or 4 fouls or something. But he was out for at least 4 minutes. Not only did they hold on, I mean I think yeah, they went ahead at one point. But it was their game. They forced Michigan to react. Michigan did, but yeah, and it'd be a Duke's game in the end. And even though as a Maryland grad, and I'm supposed to hate Duke as a sports writer, I can appreciate just how many dudes they got on that team. But Michigan is the team to watch because Michigan is fierce. They are just fierce. That
They're
might,
tough.
yeah.
I think that loss is going to help them more than that win's going to help Duke.
Yeah,
Um, they got this. I'm terrible at names sometimes, Gary. You know that they got
yeah,
the
on
seven
me
footer
too.
at Michigan, and he's a tough ball player, and they got a great perimeter game. I just like them. I like them. I think Duke's going to go a long way too. A lot of
Oh, yeah,
people concentrate on Boozer, but they're not a one man show. They got some other players on out there that can really do some damage as well. So two very good teams, two very talented teams. Tell you who else I saw this weekend that really talented, and they beat Houston at Houston. That's Arizona. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Tommy. I always forget this guy's last name. Tommy something. I always forget his last name. The coach. He's got them working on all cylinders. That was a big win to go down to Houston and beat Houston at Houston. Big win. They're really playing well. I tell you who's really surprising me. and we're going to see how far they go in the tournament. That's Iowa State. Iowa State is really tough, man. They are
Yeah.
they're doing some things and beating people, and
Did they
they,
beat
they,
Nebraska?
I think they did.
Yeah,
I think
I
they
think I
did.
think one of their wins I think was against Nebraska, which is a surprise team.
Yeah, I think they're really good. I tell you another one. It's really good. Nobody really talks about it. That's Miami of Ohio. Um,
Oh,
they
they're
are,
still unbeaten, right?
yeah, still unbeaten. And the scary thing with them, because they play in a mid major conference, they're not going to get the respect. And
Hmm.
I just don't want it to happen where they lose in the tournament and then they don't get a bid or don't get the bid they should get. You and I have both seen that happen. It's not right, but it's reality. They play in a conference that a
Hmm.
lot of people don't watch, or recognize, or pay attention to. And I just hope that does not happen to them. Their conference, if I'm not mistaken, in the past has, I don't think they've ever got more than two bids, but I think most of the time their conference is a one bid conference. So
Yeah.
I just hope it works out for them.
I mean, I think it will because it would reflect badly on the committee to exclude an unbeaten team. Um, I think,
Well, but Gary, here's what I'm saying. If they're unbeaten, they're definitely getting in. But if they go into their tournament unbeaten and lose in that tournament, it's not like they're losing in the ACC or the Big Ten. You know that gets a little bit nerve wracking.
mhm.
So,
Yeah. Well, at this point, John, we're talking about seeding.
hmm
Um, and that's the thing about a game like Michigan and Duke, which of course, looking at the schedule a week ago, we were like, I mean, yeah, we're talking about Duke on the one hand and big games coming up, but then we see that right in your backyard, they're playing there, neutral site game, and again, it lived up to hype in in
hmm
in prime time, and it's one of those like, okay, we will see you again. You might win some, but you just lost some. Or might
hmm
win some, but you just lost one. Maybe that I think that's the Lauryn Hill
yeah,
song. Let me get it
yeah,
right. Age, bro. But you gotta love it. You gotta love it,
oh
and you
yeah.
gotta love it on the women's side too.
You had a
You
big upset this weekend. Duke lost. Duke was on a 16 game winning streak,
Yeah,
and
lo-
and,
and,
and
lo-
it,
and lost to Clemson on a
hmm
three. And um, for the ACC, I'll say this. Sunday, I was covering Louisville, Virginia, and Virginia, I mean, Louisville has lost a few games at home this season. They've taken some tough L's. Sunday was another one of them, but I'm giving credit to the Virginia Cavaliers because they were just clutch. Every time Louisville would try to mount a comeback, and which they did, and they led by one twice in the final minutes, but
hmm
Virginia would come down and they would find the open shooter and knock down the three or knock down a two. And the guard, Kimora Johnson, a great catalyst for all the talk that we give to Hannah Hidalgo at Notre Dame. This guard, she's a sophomore, I believe, but she can hit the threes. She has like 78 threes, and she could find teammates. Their inside
hmm
game is ridiculous. I bet you didn't know that Virginia leads the league and leads the nation. At least they did lead the nation in block shots. They were averaging 7 a game.
hmm
That's no that's nothing to sneeze at when you go into the tournament. I don't think they have the greatest size, but they have great ball anticipation. They deflect a lot of passes, and like I said, they block a lot of shots. They really do, and they change how a team plays. The only thing that they don't have, again, is really that inside force to go up and score like that. They're a very good perimeter team, but I see a team that still needs, really that big dog inside. I hate to use that term, that, and I don't want to use aircraft carriers. They need that
Go
force
ahead and use
inside.
my term. I haven't patented it yet. Go ahead and call me aircraft
Okay, yeah,
carrier.
they need that aircraft carrier, inside that can go to the hoop. They've got, again, they got some length that they can get the putbacks, but even in women's basketball, you need that aircraft carrier that will just like barrel through the lanes and just say, look, either either get out the way or get run over, and
Yeah.
that's it. That's
And
what
you know,
UConn has.
what's also strange about it? I looked at the top 4 or 5 with the women's rankings. Texas was so bad. Vic Schaefer was so on them. The world was coming to an end.
Oh
And
yeah.
they're and
Yeah.
they're the fourth ranked team in the country.
That John, I'll tell you something that and I haven't put it out of consideration. I've never gone to a women's basketball tournament. Postseason tournament. I've covered more than a few on the men's side. Of course, I've covered the NCAA tournament, because of Louisville and Kentucky, during my time here. But to watch like that whole conference tournament, and it's right down there in was it Rock Hill, South Carolina?
Hmm.
It's about a 6-hour drive from here. And John, I'm telling you, it's very, very intriguing to me
Hmm.
to go. I don't know where the women are playing in the ACC. I don't know whether it's Charlotte or Greensboro. I always consider Greensboro the default, but John, to watch the SEC tournament, because you figure in one weekend you can see Dawn Staley in Carolina, you can see Kim Mulkey in LSU, and Vic Schaefer in Texas. Now,
Hmm.
all of those teams will most likely finish in that top four and get double buys, and you buy tickets to watch Friday and Saturday. You don't necessarily have to stay for the championship on Sunday, but if you can get four in one day or get a semifinal ticket, you're going to see some of the best basketball you'll watch
Hmm.
this season. In general, not just
Hmm.
among the women, because I'm at a point now. I'm not going to qualify the sports for what they are. Um, I'm going to go back to Miami for a second, John, and just note that with Miami of Ohio, everything's been made about how they don't really have enough quad wins, their schedule and such. But again, I'd be very disappointed if the committee held that against them in terms of seeding. If they are lower than an 8 seed, I'm going to be mad. I don't think they deserve, a number one seed. And again, if they lose in the conference tournament, then that kind of throws everything up. But I do think the committee has a contingency already in place. But they need to be seated high enough to give honor and recognition for what they've done this year. Because you play your schedule, and what's that saying? You are what your record says you are.
All
And
right, Gary. Gary,
yeah,
this is what we're going to do real quick. Let's see
okay.
if I can find it. They're 21st in the nation,
Hmm.
27-0. And what conference do they play in?
I think that's what Mid-American.
They play in the Mid American. All
Yeah, it seems
right.
like all the Ohio schools are in that conference.
Okay, they
Um,
got Old Dominion, Air Force, Merce somebody, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Carolina Greensboro, ME, Carolina Asheville, Wright State, Ball, Bowling Green, Akron, Western Michigan, Toledo, Buffalo, Marshall. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say, Gary, and I know you're going to disagree with me, and you're probably going to punch me through the phone. If they do not win the conference tournament, they will not get into the NCAA tournament. I'm not saying what I hope. I'm not saying what I wish. I'm just going on what I think is practical.
John, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't. I'm not a fighter. Um,
Let me also say this before you say that.
and I mean,
I'm
what you
not,
see, is a little bit of sadness if that happens.
yeah, and I'm not saying this to disagree with you. I really want to be wrong, but based upon what I'm looking at, I can't. Maybe you can pull it up faster who's in the Mid American Conference, but some of those teams I just called are in the Mid American Conference. And it goes back to what we talked about a few minutes ago. That's a conference that gives one bid.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, yeah. So you got Miami. I'll give you the top four, all in Ohio. Miami, Akron, Kent State, Ohio, Toledo. Let's see, Bowling Green, which I think is in Indiana, Buffalo. Um,
Bowling
yeah,
Green, I think, is in Bowling Green in Kentucky.
no, Western Kentucky University is in Bowling Green. There's two different schools, and everybody gets that confused.
So where is Bowling Green?
Bowling Green, I want to say it's Ohio, but I could be wrong. Um, hmm, let's see.
See, and again, I'm going to say something that's crazy. This is why I always feel the automatic bid for the tournament, no, for the NCAA tournament, should go to the regular season champion.
Yep, yep, I agree. Yeah, Bowling Green, Ohio.
Yeah, the regular season champion should get the automatic bid. All of a sudden, here we go, 1975, Virginia with Wally Walker. They get on a run and they win 3 games. They beat Maryland, Duke, and North Carolina. They get the automatic bid. And then they lose in the first round of the tournament. That's just the automatic bid should go to a team that wins the regular season.
Yeah, but John, you know how we feel in the DMV about when when Maryland lost to NC State. I think it was what 104 to 100 or something in overtime, and probably
103, 100.
103 100. Okay, Maryland scores 100 points in a conference tournament final, and they don't get in, and they turn down the NIT bid.
Mm-hmm.
Why? How many teams were in the tournament then, John?
What was it, 20? Was it 28?
16.
No, no, Gary, it was more than 16.
Well, okay, let's see. Let's look at this. Because and we're probably way over time on this one. Um, but it conference champions were rewarded, and that's what made it so tough, and that's what made it so
I think the year that they
so
didn't go,
compelling.
I think it was 20 some teams, and then they expanded it the next
Oh,
year.
okay, 25,
Okay,
25.
and then they expanded it.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
you're right. It was. Well, let's see. Hold up. Let me look at this. Um, well, I'll say I think what 25 teams. Heck, this is not helping, but I'm gonna look at the bracket. Okay, because that's what I was trying to find. All right, NC State. So yeah, you are looking at roughly 25 teams because let's see, one, two, yeah, because several had buys.
hmm
And North Carolina State was one of those teams that had buys. So yeah, yeah, um, yeah. And yeah, like you said, they expand. What did they expand it to that year? That's what I'm trying to remember.
the next year I think they expanded to 32, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But it just showed, John, how much importance was placed on winning your conference. Runner up was not going to get it done. And I think I'm looking at this and I'm trying to look at see like the other ACC teams that were in contention that year, and I'm not seeing anybody else but NC State with David Thompson. I think was Monty Towell on that team too.
Monty Tell, David Thompson,
David
Tom
Thompson,
Burleson,
Burleson.
Tim
That's the one I was
Stoddard,
trying to remember.
Phil
Woo.
Spence,
Wait a minute.
uh,
Did you say Tim Stoddard?
pitcher for the Orioles. Yes.
That's right. Yep. I want to. Yes, I want to make sure. Yeah. He got his dap. Actually, a pretty good pitcher for the Orioles too.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Oh
Hey,
man, John,
Gary,
we've gone on way too long, but it's
go ahead
been
and take us
good.
home, Gary. Go ahead and take us home.
Okay, let's see. How do we wrap this up? Well, of course, we've talked about college basketball. It's stretch time. You've only got really 2 weekends left before March Madness really starts. Well, one more weekend. The game I'm going to try to take in this weekend is South Carolina at Kentucky. Try to see if Dawn can close out the conference there. Um, you've got. Oh, I mean, you got Duke, North Carolina coming up here soon, and I want to say it might be this weekend. Um, North Carolina won a tough game against Louisville at home Monday night, and that's a team I think you have to watch as well. The record might not necessarily reflect it, but I think they're what, number 17, and the ACC tournament or the ACC championship, could come down to that final weekend. NBA, everything. I watched the Lakers and the Celtics on Sunday night. Um, I don't have any opinion about the Lakers, but I do have an opinion about Boston. That I think that's a team you really have to watch. I like them even with oh gosh, I can't remember the game. The guard, and I'm John. I hate age because I forget names just like that. But I'll just say Jalen Brown, that's his team right now, and he's doing a great job. So you watch that. Hockey's about to ramp back up, and let's see, there's probably a NASCAR race coming up somewhere, and probably Formula One coming up somewhere. So there's plenty to watch, John. But watch us on YouTube, watch us on Facebook. For our friends that are curious, send us a line, and we'll email a link to you.
Hey, thanks again to everybody for watching us. Another great week in sports. Hey, watch some basketball. Watch the men's and the women's college basketball. Watch the NBA. Watch some hockey. Getting ready to ramp back up again. Watch some soccer. But above all else, just watch some sports. Take care. See you again.